going down for real.
Hello there, and welcome to another edition of the Women's Basketball Coaches Show. I'm Jordan Bazeron with MuralAthletics.com, joined alongside head women's basketball coach Rusty Rainbolt. Now, Coach, you look for a big challenge this weekend, and on the opening weekend, you went to the TexAnn Tip-Off over there at Tarleton State, and you didn't open up with an easy task. I mean, you opened up with Tarleton State, the host, at home. Over 2,000 fans showed up, according to the attendance records. Can you talk about the environment there Friday night?
Yeah, well, Tarleton was a great host. They put on a fantastic tournament, and their athletic training staff took good care of us. The staff, workers, everybody was real friendly. It was a fun environment. That first game for us was a lot of fun, other than not quite pulling it out. They had a great crowd, and it was a great environment for women's basketball, and so our kids played pretty well. Ended up, losing by 1 in overtime. Had our chances. We had the lead, had a 4-point lead at the end of regulation and blew it, and had a lead in overtime. Just didn't quite get it done. But it was definitely a great environment against a very good opponent. They're a very good team and should have a good year.
Yeah, you mentioned they're a good team. I mean, last year they were conference runner-up to West Texas A&M, I believe, who finished as the runner-up in Division II. And like you said, this year they're supposed to be a pretty good team. But can you talk about the end of regulation there? You guys go down 2. I think you foul because you're forced to foul, and then they miss 2 free throws. You call a timeout, and then Tiara Tucker takes the inbounds. And can you basically tell us how she broke it down?
Yeah, well, exactly like you said, we ended up fouling. They went down, missed 2 free throws. We get the rebound, and Tuck just takes it coast to coast, and the girl that was guarding her had 4 fouls, so we wanted to go right at her and just spread the floor, and Tiara made a great play, and the bucket went in, and we did the same thing at the end of the overtime of the game, and she got the same type of look. She got fouled, and they didn't give her a call, and so she didn't get the shot off. But she did a good job of going down, pushing the ball, and making a play, and sometimes they go in, and sometimes they don't.
Now, Tiara Tucker, she finished with 14. Barbion Wyatt also had 14 and 7. Now, we know Chanel Miller, the reigning GAC Newcomer of the Year. We'll get to her a little later. But how good is it to see 2 other players like those 2 stepping up this early in the season?
Well, it's nice. You look at the 2 games we played, and we're averaging 71 points a game. And on the first game, we had 3 girls in double figures, and then in the second game, we had 2, and they were different groups. So I think that's the thing about our team this year is the versatility in scoring, that we've got a lot of different girls that are capable of having a big night, But Barbion played very well on Friday, statistically, and her effort and all that. I mean, she did a fantastic job. Come out on Saturday and couldn't put the ball in the hole. But it wasn't lack of effort. It was just one of those days, But I think that's, again, a tribute to our team, just the depth that we have. But Barbion and Tiara played very well, and Chanel played very well on Friday. And, we just had a few too many turnovers.
Now, Friday, again, we said you fell by 1 point. But Saturday, your team turned around. It was a quick turnaround for your team. You had a noon match or an afternoon game, and then you went and you beat Angelo State by 6. And we looked at the box here, and they had 6 players over 20 minutes, and you had 10 players over 10 minutes. So I guess maybe did your team happen to wear them down? Do you feel like your team does that when you sub in and their players are still out there? Do you feel like your team wears down other teams toward the end of the games?
Well, that's part of the plan. I don't know that we wore them down or not, because I thought Angelo played. I thought they played really hard on Saturday. We watched them play on Friday, and that was one of the things going in. We thought we could wear them down because they only played about 8 girls, 7 girls. But on Saturday, they played a lot harder, and it didn't feel like that they really got wore down. I thought our kids just did a good job of maintaining that tempo. But we've got a big group of girls, and we want everybody to be able to get on there and play. And so that's a big part of the way our team is built, is just that depth, and we want the tempo to be that way for 40 minutes.
Now, I want to talk about Rosa Bryant for a second. She had 12.6 rebounds, a great day Saturday, but she may be the shortest center in the league. I mean, what can you say about her play early on? She's obviously a newcomer over there from Baton Rouge Community College. We talked about her preseason. You said she was one of the biggest sleepers in your draft class, and she's obviously shown it early on.
Yeah, Rosa's a good player. Rosa is the prototypical type of player we want because of her versatility. She's a 5'9", athletic player. She kind of plays the center for us because it causes a tough matchup. But she can play on the perimeter. She can play in the post. She can guard multiple positions. So Rosa is definitely a great addition to our team. And we've got quite a few girls. Chanel's kind of that way, and Shantae and Barbion are that way. And so we like the versatility because they're all interchangeable. But Rosa had a good day on she had a good day on Friday. She just got in foul trouble, and then she had a great day on Saturday. So
now Chanel Miller, like we said, she had 12 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, no turnovers, almost a complete game for her on Saturday, and maybe that was the reason she was named to the all-tournament team there. I think she averaged 12 points and 3.5 rebounds. So I guess how good is it to see that maybe her performance has not fallen off from last year?
Yeah, well, no, it's not. She's doing very well, and you know, kind of we talked about last time, we want her to rebound more, and but the thing that's so awesome about Chanel is that it doesn't show up in the box scores. You know, she attempts about 4 charges a game. She'll step in and take them whether they call it or not. I mean, that's a stat that really has a huge value because it creates turnovers and more possessions for our team. But Chanel was the only one that scored in double figures both days and taking a very small amount of shots. And so she's just very consistent in her scoring effort and very efficient, which is important. But I think Chanel is glad that she's got some help around her this year, so she's not having to take 20 to 25 shots a game because that's not her personality. We were having to push her out of her comfort zone last year to do that. This year she likes to, you know, she wants to be more of a scorer, but in her limited role, not having to force shots up. So, but she did a very good job this past weekend.
Now in the second game, you talk about turnovers. You forced 28 against Angelo State, 17 of them on steals. I guess the other 11 came from the pressure and them making bad passes. So is 28 about the number that you're looking for, or is there a certain number, I guess, per se that you're looking for, or is it just you know, trying to force turnovers for points?
As many as we can get. You know, we like to shoot for about anywhere between 25 and 30, which is a lot of turnovers. You know, that's us having to really get out and work. You know, I mentioned a minute ago, I think we took 6 charges. You know, those are turnovers for the other team that don't give you a second chance point or a transition point, but it creates a turnover. And so, however we can force turnovers, we want to do it. But that's definitely a big part of our game plan is to get out and create chaos.
Now tomorrow is your first conference match, also your home opener against SNU, the Crimson Storm from Oklahoma. They come in. They're big players. Aminata Fall, she's a 6'4" center. Basically, what you see is what you get. She averages a double-double. I guess one of the keys for tomorrow would be to lock down her. But can you tell us some keys for tomorrow's game? Yeah,
well, one, you're not going to lock her down. She is a fantastic player. She's, you know, definitely a player that could play in any team in the country. I mean, she's a very good player, to be honest. She can shoot the 3, she can drive it to the rim, she's got a mid-range game, a post-up game. You know, she's averaging 20 and 14 right now. Last year she averaged 18 and 15, you know, in about 5 or 6 blocks a game. So she does it all. But she's not the only player on their team. You know, a lot of people, they highlight her, and rightfully so. She's a great player, but they've got a great point guard in Boyd that can just fill it up. I mean, she is a fantastic competitor, great ball handler. Shoots it so well, and then they've got multiple players on their team that are, you know, new to the team this year or playing a different role. But I mean, they're averaging a lot of points right now a game. A very good offensive team, and you know, I think people would say their identity is offense, but they're a good defensive team too. They're solid. You know, they definitely, their identity is getting out and running and putting shots up, but they do a good job of guarding and well coached. I mean, he does a great job. So it's going to be a tough game, but we're glad to be home.
Now, moving into Saturday, you have back-to-back home games. I'm sure it's good for your team to be back home after that road trip this past weekend. But you take on Southeastern. Now, they have Emily Williams, who's led them in scoring in 2 of 3 games. But in their last game, they had a different scorer, who Olivia Potter, put up 26 in their last game. So can you tell us some keys to that match, to that game as well? Yeah,
well, they're going to be 2 completely different game plans because they play completely different styles. You know, Southern Nazarene is an offensive juggernaut, running and gunning and firing it up, and the tempo. Southeastern is a tempo team too, but they are probably I think last year they were the top field goal percentage defensive team in the league. I mean, his kids are they are tough. I mean, they run a great motion against a man defense, but kids screen and rebound and take charges, and then this year, I think last year, you know, they didn't shoot the ball near as well from the 3-point line. This year, they are really shooting it with confidence, and so it scares me, to be honest with you. I mean, they're shooting well, and they're such a great defensive team that the kids just fight. So it's going to be tough. I mean, we know that. 2 teams that were picked ahead of us in the preseason polls that are traditionally very good programs, and so it'll be a tough week. But I think it'll show all 3 of the teams, us and those 2, you know, where we're at right now.
Now the Lady Mule Riders take on the Storms of Oklahoma this weekend. First, the Crimson Storm of Southern Nazarene tomorrow at 5:30, and then Saturday, of course, the Savage Storm of Southeastern at 2 p.m. Thanks for joining us, Coach, and good luck.
Thank you.
going down for real.